Across the street was another restaurant. As Sophie's two plans were failed, he saw in another restaurant. It was in across the street. It was not a fine as the one on Broadway. So it was not as fine as the previous one, which was on Broadway. The people who went there were not so rich. So it was a simple one restaurant, we can say that. And here some simple people or medium class people used to come to have their meal here. Its food was not so good. Into this, Soapy took his old shoes and his torn clothes, and no one stopped him. Okay, so he went into that shop. He sat down at the table and was soon eating a big dinner. Okay, he started his dinner. Okay, was soon eating a big dinner. Big dinner means as he was very hungry, so for him the dinner was the big one. Hello student, good morning. Today we will study remain part of the chapter the cop and the anthem. Cop it means police and the anthem it is a song. Okay, in the first part we had studied that Soapy is a man who was homeless and jobless, and he was sitting in a park. It was in Madison Square. Madison Square is a name of place or जो भी है like city or okay. So he wanted a home to spend his winter, as winter was approaching and he was thinking about the prison. So उसको ऐसा भी लगता है कि कहीं जॉब ढूंढ ले, बट इफ सपोज के कहीं जॉब ढूंढने जाएगा, wherever he go, the person he must be asked about his background, and we know that his background was not clear, right? So he was thinking about to go to the prison. For that he has to do something wrong work, right? कुछ गलत काम करेगा तो ही उसको prison में जाने मिलेगा, and that is why he made the plan. Which plan he made? First plan he made that he will go to the restaurant, he will have a good dinner there, then he will say that he has no money. Then the restaurant people will call the police, and that police will send him or present him in front of the judge, and judge will do the rest of work. But as he has gone to the restaurant, as he reached there, the जो guard होता है, he saw that his torn clothes and torn shoes, so he threw him out. So his first plan was failed. Then another plan he made. As he saw the cop, he had thrown a stone to a glass. एक glass में फेंकता है. Beautiful glass was there in the shop. So beautiful shop में जो beautiful glass था उसको तोड़ देता है. People were running here and there in panic. The cop was there. Soapy was smiling at the police, but police ये सोचता है कि कोई stone throw करके कोई भी इस तरह से खड़ा नहीं रहता. Okay, so his second plan was also failed. His plan was to go to the prison. जो आइलैंड में जो प्रिजन था वहाँ पर उसको टाइम स्पेंड करना है. वाई? द विंटर वॉज देयर. he wanted to spend the winter in the prison, because he will get the free food, he will get the shelter, and he will get the warmth there. And that is why his plan was to go to the prison, and in this way his two plans were failed. Now let's see what will happen. क्या वो सक्सेस होता है कि नहीं होता है? We will see it. When he had finished, he said that he had no money. So in this way he had his dinner, he finished his dinner, then he said that he had no money. Get busy and call a cop, said Soapy. Now Soapy said the restaurant people to call the police, and don't keep a gentleman waiting. And don't keep a gentleman waiting means he doesn't want to wait for anyone, as he was eager to go to the prison. So he said that to call the police. No coke for you, said the waiter. He called another waiter. Now waiter said that there is no need to call the waiter for you. Police for you. The two waiters threw Soapy upon his left ear on the hard street outside. So two waiters come, as you can see in picture. The picture is given here. Two waiters who had thrown Soapy out from the restaurant. Okay. He stood up slowly and part at a time and beat the dust from his clothes. So as his clothes were dusty, so he cleaned his clothes. Prison seemed only a happy dream. Now for him, prison becomes a dream. It is very hard for him to go to the prison because all the plans he had made, all the plans had been failed. The island seemed very far away. The island, which island? Where the prison was there. So the prison, it was in the island. It just become a dream for him, and for him that island becomes very very far away. A cop who was standing near laughed and walked away. There was a cop there. पुलिस भी वहाँ पर खड़ा था. He was standing there, but he has just laughed and walked away. हंसता है और चला जाता है. Even he didn't care to ask Soapy what has happened about. Soapy started moving again. When he stopped, he was near several theatres. Now, where he reached, there are many theatres there. In this part of the city, streets are brighter and hearts are more joyful than in other parts. Okay, so here it was Madin Square's, we can say that joyful area where the people you can see the happy faces there because theater is there. So theater में जो जाने वाले होते हैं वो मूवी देखने जाते हैं. So as जो देखने जाते वो भी हैप्पी होते हैं, and when they seen and watched the movie and returned and came out from the theater are happy faces. ये तो एक देखिए, हम मूवी देखने जाते हैं तो भी हैप्पी फेसेस होता है, राइट? एंड the people who watched the movie, जिसने देख लिए, those are also happy. So here in Madin Square ये जो एरिया था, here the people are joyful. Here the word then, THAN, then means two then are there. एक का spelling है THEN and this one is THAN. So THAN, when we can use THAN when we compare something with something. Okay, एक चीज को कंपेयर किया जाता है दूसरी चीज से. It is used in comparative degree. Okay, so women and men in rich warm coats moved happily in the winter air. So here Soapy had seen women and men were there who were in a good and rich clothes. Okay, so they were in a rich coats and warm coats as it was winter season, so people wore warm clothes. A sudden fear caught Soapy. No cop was going to arrest him. Now he afraid. He become afraid. एक डर सा लगता है कि कोई कॉप उसको अरेस्ट नहीं कर रहा है. देख रहे हैं, हंस रहे हैं. इवन उसने ग्लास तोड़ा तब भी उसने कहा कि he had broken that glass, but that cop did not believe in his words. So he afraid कि कोई भी कॉप जो है उसको अरेस्ट नहीं कर रहा है. Then he came to another cop standing in front of big theater. Then Soapy saw another cop and he was standing in front of big theater. He thought of something else to try. Now he thought कि कुछ और try किया जाए, try something else. He began to shout as if he had too much to drink. He was pretending as he had drunk a lot of. His voice was as loud as he could make it, and whatever the energy he had, he started shouting, and it was high pitched noise, we can say. He danced, he cried out, he shouted. Cried out means shouted. And the cop turned his back to Soapy and said to a man standing near him, "It's one of those college boys. He will not hurt anything. We have ordered to let them we have orders to let them shout." So cop turned his back to Soapy, and turned back to his Soapy means he didn't pay attention. And cop said to an another man कि ये तो एक कॉलेज का लड़का है, एंड ही इज जस्ट साउटिंग, ही विल नॉट हर्ट एनीवन. ये जो लड़का है वो किसी को हर्ट करेगा नहीं. तो एक कॉलेज का लड़का है, उसने पूरा पिया रखा है और इस तरह से साउट कर रहा है, एंड ही विल नॉट हार्म एनीवन. सो दिस प्लान ऑल्सो फेल्ड. सोपी वॉज क्वाइट, वो शांत रह गया. वॉज नो कोप गोइंग टू टच हिम मीन्स दिस प्लान ऑल्सो फेल. तो क्या कोई उसको टच भी नहीं करेगा, कोई कॉप उसको पकड़ने भी नहीं आएगा, उसको अरेस्ट भी नहीं करेगा. He began to think of the island as if it were as far as a star. So now for him the island is as far as the star. मतलब इतना दूर है जैसे कि स्टार जितना दूर है. ओके, as far away as. ओके, so when there is a देखो यहाँ पर कोई इक्वल होता है दोनों, तब हम as far as यूज करते हैं. as good as white as. ओके, वी कैन से दैट. कोई कंपेयर करते हैं, जब मून है कितना शाइनिंग करता है तो उसका चेहरा है, तो एज शाइन एज मून. ओके, अगर हम कहें कि वो लायन के जितना ब्रेव है तो एज ब्रेव एज लायन. ओके, ही पुल्ड हिज थिन कोट अराउंड हिम. द विंड वॉज वेरी कोल्ड एज द विंटर सीजन स्टार्टेड अप्रोच्ड. तो वहाँ पर बहुत ठंडी थी. सो ही पुल्ड हिज थिन कोट अराउंड हिम, और उसने जो कोट पहना था इट वॉज क्वाइट थिन. देन ही सो अ मैन इन अ शॉप बाइंग अ न्यूज़पेपर. सो ऑल हिज प्लान्स वर फेल्ड. नाउ ही हैड सीन अ मैन हु वॉज बाइंग न्यूज़पेपर. The man's umbrella stood beside the door. Okay, so he put his umbrella beside the door. Soapy stepped inside the shop, took the umbrella and walked slowly away. So he had stolen that man's umbrella and started walking. The man followed him quickly. That man who was buying newspaper had followed Soapy. "My umbrella," he said. "Oh, is it?" said Soapy. "Why don't you call a cop?" "I took it." "Your umbrella? Why don't you call a cop?" So he said, "Is this your umbrella? See, I have stolen. Now call the police." "Why don't you call a police?" "There's one standing at the corner." He showed that. उसने दिखाया. "The cop is standing there. Call him." उसको बुलाओ. "I have stolen your umbrella." The man walked more slowly. Soapy did the same. He started also walk slowly. उसने जैसे मैन ने स्लोली चलना शुरू किया, सोपी ने भी सेम, उसने भी थोड़ी आराम से चलना शुरू किया. बिकॉज सोपी का तो प्लान था कि दैट मैन कॉल अ पुलिस. ओके, सो उसने ये भी कहा कि ओके कॉल अ पुलिस, ही इज स्टैंडिंग देयर. बट ही हैड a feeling that he was going to fail again. Now again he felt that his plan was going to fail. The cop looked at the two men. "I," said the umbrella man, "that is, you know how these things happen. If that's your umbrella, I'm very sorry. I found it this morning in a restaurant. If you say it's yours, I hope you will." So that man said that he had found that umbrella in a restaurant, and he said that if it is belongs to you, you can take it. वो इंसान कहता है कि अरे ये अम्ब्रेला भी मुझे रेस्टोरेंट में मिली, अगर आपकी है, इफ इट बिलोंग्स टू यू देन टेक इट, अगर आपकी है तो आप ले लीजिए. "It is mine," cried Soapy with an anger in voice. "It is mine," Soapy cried. Soapy shouted. He became angry because all his plans were failed. The umbrella man hurried away. So that man क्विकली वेंट अवे फ्रॉम देयर, वहाँ से चला जाता है जल्दी जल्दी. द कोप हेल्प्ड अ लेडी अक्रॉस द स्ट्रीट. Soapy walked east. Now Soapy started, walked east. He threw the umbrella as far as he could throw it. So again see student, as far as he could. As far as. Again, okay? As I explain you कि जब हम जब कहना चाहते हैं उसके जितना ही, okay? तो हम इक्वल होता है, इक्वलाइज करते हैं, तब हम as और as यूज़ करते हैं. ओके, सो जितनी भी वो दूर फेंक सकता था उतनी देर उसको फेंक दिया. किसको? अम्ब्रेला को. ही टॉक्ड टू हिमसेल्फ अबाउट कोप्स एंड ही थॉट ऑफ देम. सो ही टॉक अबाउट हिमसेल्फ अबाउट कोप्स एंड व्हाट ही थॉट ऑफ देम. क्या वो अपने बारे में सोचता, अपने आप से बातें करता है. बिकॉज ही विश्ड टू बी अरेस्टेड. नॉट इवन अ सिंगल कोप कम टू arrest him, so he thought about it. They seemed to believe he was like a king who could do no wrong. Now अपने आप को जैसे ऐसे सोचता है कि जैसे किंग है, किंग never do anything wrong, कि किंग जो होता है कभी रॉन्ग करता ही नहीं है. At last Soapy came to one of the quiet street on the side of the city. Now Soapy reached at a street. It was so quiet, so peaceful atmosphere there. He turned here, began to walk south toward Madison Square. Madison Square में साउथ की तरफ अब वो मुड़ने लगा. He was going home, although home was only a seat in a park. Now he started towards his home. Home मतलब घर कहाँ था उसका? In a park, गार्डन में जो एक सीट थी वही उसका घर था. So he started, okay, walking towards that park. But at a very quiet corner Soapy stopped. It was a quiet corner there, so peaceful corner it was. Soapy stopped there. He was his old childhood. Here was his old childhood home, and here in that street his childhood home was there. Through one window he could see a soft light shining, and here he could see that the soft light shining was coming out from there. That had been his living room, और वो उसका living room था when he was small boy, where he had spent many happy peaceful moments. And here it was the same house in which he had spent his many happy peaceful moments. Sweet music came to Soapy's ears and seemed to hold him there. So here he stopped there because this event, जो music वहाँ से आ रहा था, sweet music was coming out from there. That stopped Soapy because that music hold Soapy's ear. मतलब कि वो जो म्यूजिक था उसके कान को इतना कर्णप्रिय था कि वहाँ पर वो रुक जाता. ही होल्ड देयर. द मून वॉज अबव, पीसफुल एंड ब्राइट, एंड हियर एज इट वॉज मून, फुल मून नाइट, और मून जो था वहाँ पर पीसफुल एंड ब्राइट चमक रहा था. देयर वर फ्यू पीपल पासिंग. हियर इट वॉज नॉट क्राउडी स्ट्रीट. Okay, so only few peoples were passing from there. He could hear birds high above him, and the music that came from the room held Soapy's there, for he had known it well long ago. Whatever the music was coming out, so he loved that music, and that's why he stopped there. And the music he had known, वो music को भी वो बहुत अच्छी तरह से वो पहचानता था. In those days his life contained such things as mothers and flowers and high hopes and friends and clean thoughts and clean clothes. It was a time his childhood was so joyful and happiest one. He had his mother, the flowers were there, and बड़ी बड़ी ऊंची आशाएं थी. Friends, he had many friends. He had clean clothes and clean thoughts. See student, यहाँ पर एक word है. We should focus this word, clean thoughts. इंसान के पास मदर है, फ्लावर है, फ्रेंड्स है, अच्छे कपड़े, बट क्लीन थॉट नहीं है तो तो वो इंसान क्रिमिनल कहलाएगा कि नहीं कहलाएगा? ओके, सो हियर दिस वर्ड इज रियली इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर अस। ये शब्द हमारे लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि क्लीन थॉट वाला इंसान, भले ना उसके पास कुछ भी ना हो, बट वी कैन से दैट मैन इज जेंटलमैन। कि कपड़े अच्छे से कोई जेंटलमैन नहीं बन जाता, बट पीपल शुड हैव क्लीन थॉट्स। ओके, there was a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. Okay, as he was there, now उसके अंदर सडन मीन्स अचानक से उसके अंदर चेंज आ गया, उसकी आत्मा बदल गई। he saw with sick fear how he had fallen. now he had found himself, कि how he changed, कैसे वो चेंज हो गया, वो कितना गिर गया है अपने बुरे कामों से। he saw his worthless days means बिना कीमत के कोई डेज है, बस ऐसे ही he was wandering here and there, फिर कुछ ऐसे गुनाह करता है, फिर प्रिजन में जाता है। सो चेंज, उसकी आत्मा है जो बदल जाती है। he wanted to be a good man, अब वो एक अच्छा इंसान बनना चाहता है। his wrong desire, बुरी डिजायर, कैसे डिजायर मीन्स इच्छा है, विशेष। what was his wishes? to do bad things and go to the prison. now he had उसको पश्चाताप होता है, he repentance, उसको पश्चाताप होता है कि जो भी कर रहा है, whatever he was doing, it was bad, his desire were wrongs. okay, his dead hopes, बुरी आशा होप्स मीन्स आशा, तो उसकी बुरी आशा है। द लॉस्ट पावर ऑफ हिज माइंड। ओके, पावर ऑफ हिज माइंड मीन्स अपना जो पावर है उसने कहीं घूम कर दिया है। ही बिकम अ बैड मैन, सो ही बिकम्स अ बैड मैन। सो इन दिस वे ही रियलाइज्ड दैट ही शुड बी अ गुड मैन, ही शुड बी अ जेंटलमैन, कि उसको एक अच्छा इंसान बनना चाहिए। वॉट एवर ही हैज डन इन हिज लाइफ वॉज रॉन्ग। नाउ इन दिस वे हिज साउल हैज चेंज्ड, उसकी आत्मा बदल जाती है। एंड ऑल्सो in a moment his heart answered this change in his soul. So here he asked his heart and he get the right answer from there. Okay, answer this change in his soul. Okay, उसके हृदय से एक आंसर मिलता है जो उसकी आत्मा को बदल देता है। And students, whatever is there in the world, if we ask something ourselves, अगर हम अपने आप को ये कुछ पूछते हैं, we every time get the right answer, because हमारी आत्मा ही सबसे बड़ी है। okay, the thing which is invisible in the world is a supernatural, जो इस दुनिया में इनविजिबल है वही सुपरनेचुरल है। okay, and our soul is invisible, we cannot see our soul. okay, we cannot see God, we cannot see the truth, हम सच्चाई को कभी नहीं देख सकते। okay, सच्चाई हमारे कर्मों में होती है, हमारे कर्मों में होती है, हमारे डीड्स में होती है। द ट्रूथ इज इन अवर एक्शन। ही वुड फाइट टू चेंज हिज लाइफ। ओके, ही वुड पुल हिमसेल्फ अप ऑफ द मड। सो ही एज ही वॉज इन द मड, मीन्स मड वो नहीं जो कीचड़ होता है, बट वॉट वॉज द मड? मड वॉज हिज बैड थॉट, मड वॉज दैट हिज रॉन्ग डिजायर। okay, so he wanted to come out from those bad things, from those wrong desire. वो कीचड़ से, अपने वो गंदगी में से बाहर निकलना चाहता था। and he came out with his good thoughts, his heart changed, he would make a man of himself again. now he decided he will be a good man, एक अच्छा इंसान बनेगा। There was time, he was young enough, as he was not old man, so he was young enough. You can see in picture, he is looking at the house. okay, in this way his heart melt and there was a sudden change in his life. He would find his old purpose in life and follow it. now whatever the old purposes were there, कि जब छोटा था तब उसके जीवन में क्या पर्पसेस थे उसको फाइंड करेगा एंड ही विल फॉलो इट। दैट स्वीट म्यूजिक हैड चेंज्ड हिम, द म्यूजिक दैट वाज कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम दैट house had changed his life. He's changed him. Tomorrow he would find work. He decided now no more go to prison. अब जेल में नहीं जाना. He will find a work. A man had once offered him a job. एक इंसान ने उसको एक बार ऑफर की थी जॉब. Once a man had offered him a job. He will go there and find a job. And he would ask him. He would find that man tomorrow. He decided that he will find that man next day. He would be somebody in the world. और दुनिया में कुछ बनकर दिखाएगा. He would be somebody कि कुछ बनकर दिखाएगा. He would be somebody. He would. Sophie felt a hand on his arm, and here he felt that someone's put arm on and at his hand. He looked quite quickly around into the broad face of a cop. Now as he looked quickly around, जैसे वो उसने मुड़कर देखा, there was a cop. वहाँ पर cop खड़ा था. As you can see in picture, Sophie is standing there and looking at that house. जैसे वहाँ पर दिख रहा है घर को, एक कोप आता है, उसको पकड़ता है. What are you doing hanging around here? That cop asked. कि कहाँ पर, यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हो? Asked the cop. Nothing, said Sophie. Sophie कह रहा है कि नहीं, वो कुछ नहीं कर रहा है. You think I believe that? Said the cop. Cop क्या कहता है कि तू जो बोलेगा उसमें मान लूँगा क्या? Full of new strength, Sophie began to argue. And it is not wise to argue with a New York cop. As he started argue with that cop, वो argue करता है, but that New York police जो अमेरिका की ये स्टोरी है और मेडिसन स्क्वायर भी अमेरिका में है. ओके, सो दैट पुलिस could not believe whatever Sophie argue with him. Come along, said the cop. कि come along means मेरे साथ आओ. 3 months prison on Blackwell's Island, said the judge to Sophie next morning. So that cop arrested Sophie and he presented Sophie in front of judge, and judge had sent him to the prison. Which prison? Blackwell's Island की जहाँ पर वो जाना चाहता था. So यहाँ पर एक ये बात है कि his desire was to go to the prison and he made many plans but he was failed in every plan. सभी प्लान में वो फेल हो जाता है. Now his heart melt. Now he wanted to be a good man. He wanted to be somebody in the world. Now he wanted to do the good things. He wanted to do work. He will find a job. His heart melt. His soul changed. तो यहाँ पर एक ऐसा हो जाता है कि जब वो एक्सपेक्ट करता था जेल में जाने की, एट दैट टाइम वो नहीं जा सका. Whatever he expected, it was not happened. But whatever at last or end of the chapter, अब वो फाइंड करना, जॉब ढूंढना चाहता है, तब उसको जेल में जाना पड़ता है. सो दिस इज लाइफ. वट एवर वी एक्सपेक्ट, जो भी हम इच्छा करते वो कभी होता नहीं है, और जब नहीं जी इच्छा करते वही हमारे साथ होता है. दिस इज कॉल्ड लाइफ. Student, in first part we had we had written some exercise or question answer. I think first one, third one and fourth one exercise we had written, हमने लिखी थी. Now question number 7. There was a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. What brought about the change in Sophie? So there was a wonderful change. He wanted to do work. He wanted to be somebody in his life. So what brought the that sweet melody music had brought a change in his life. So ये क्वेश्चन है, आपको आपके आंसर बुक में, होमवर्क बुक में लिखना है. Student, we know that using is and is are used in this chapter many times. I think 3-4 times it is used. The is as pattern is used to indicate whether two objects or two people are similar or different, and an adjective must be brought into the space. So here some of the examples are here. Your sister is as smart as you. Your car is as expensive as ours. Take your race horse is as fast as my race horse. your computer is as new as my computer. So here these are the exercise you have to write in your homework book. ओके एक क्वेश्चन दे रही हूँ जो 7th वन है वो, और ये एक्सरसाइज आपको आपकी होमवर्क बुक में लिखनी है. थैंक यू एंड हैव अ नाइस डे.